Hi, this is Michelle Dale from Virtual Miss Friday, and I'm coming to you today with a kind of sad video, but I hope that it will be quite helpful to you. So what not a lot of people are aware is that I've kind of been going through some stuff in my business over the last few weeks that is incredibly unusual for me. I would say the last time I did a post like this was back in 2014 when somebody actually completely plagiarized my site. They bought my programs, digital programs, and they completely plagiarized my site, and then they did a chargeback on those programs and everything in them. So not only did they want their money back for the programs, they also took everything and made it theirs, and including like copying my testimonials and everything. Anyway, the link is in this post. But this post is the second instance of something which I consider very extreme dishonesty when working online. And yes, this is happening to me. It's going on actually right now as we speak, and I wanted to do a video to share verbally what's inside this blog post. And I don't want this to be a witch hunt for the person involved, but I do want to use this as something to be super aware of. If you're doing business online, if you're selling services online, please protect yourself as best you can against things like this, which is chargebacks, fraudulent chargebacks really, because when you do a chargeback on a credit card for no good reason, it's considered fraudulent, and they call it something like friendly fraud. Anyway, I wanted to share with you how to protect yourself against these types of things, and I wanted to also personally walk you through this blog post, which is a sort of accumulation of what's been happening to me over the last few weeks, and hopefully it will be helpful. I've tried to keep it informative and helpful for you. So I'm going to walk you through the blog post right now. So first of all, I want to talk about the impact of a chargeback, because when a customer or a consumer is charging back a company, okay, if it's a big company, let's say it's something you bought from a huge outlet store or something like that, it's a very different thing returning, not even returning actually, just taking goods and then saying, oh, I want my money back for them and still keeping them, and that was the only analogy I could think of, that there is this kind of unpoliced theft happening online. Fortunately, touch wood, it's never happened to me like this before, ever. I mean, this is, apart from that crazy plagiarism case, this is the only single time I've ever had a problem with taking payments online. I've been doing business online for 13 years. So I consider myself very lucky, I suspect. But unpoliced theft is basically like, if I go into your shop and I buy something from you and I put the money in, I give you the money and you put the money in the till, I take the goods away, I think they're great, I tell you, these goods are amazing, thank you so much. And then I come in, I keep the goods, yet I steal the money back out of the till. That's considered a crime, it's a policed crime in the real world, but in the digital world, it's not. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about credit card chargebacks and PayPal claims. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the financial impacts of these, and this is why I really want you to share this post with other people who do business online or do any kind of digital products or services online, because it can be quite helpful for them. The first thing I noticed is that depending on the circumstances in someone's banking setup, this can actually impact people a lot. So right now with the chargeback, this is the second chargeback. I won the first case on the PayPal claim, like I submitted the evidence, they said that the other person didn't have a case, they went in my favor, and then the same person went and did the same chargeback again with their credit card company. So right now, as I make this video, as I'm doing this post, my bank account, my balance is in significant deficit. So let's say, for example, you're not somebody who has the money to be able to just kind of like pay all that money back into your account to be able to use your PayPal again. This could impact the people you pay. Let's say, for example, my balance is in a massive deficit. I would have to bring my balance up to a normal balance in order to then be able to pay my team and things like that. Which is awful when you think about it. If I couldn't pay my team, because of this one thing that this person has done, it would be incredible and just unthinkable, really. So that's one thing we're going to look at in how to protect yourself against these things. The other thing is the impact on people's lives. I mean, to come up with this, you know, to have something like that happen to you, it is quite a shock to suddenly like give your all to somebody, to give them the best service, to give them hundreds of hours of support and, you know, everything that you could possibly think of to help that person, and then for them to turn around and say it was all meaningless and nothing, and you didn't do what you said you were going to do. You know, like emotionally, that's quite hurtful. Also, it's unfair to others, not just from the point of the people that have paid for that program or that course who are delighted and very happy with it, you know, and then you're saying, well, I'm delighted and happy with it, but I want my money back. I mean, like if everybody did that, we wouldn't have any online business. And if we don't have any online business, you know, imagine the lives that don't get impacted in a good way through people doing stuff like this. So imagine if everybody did it, we wouldn't have this industry online right now. That would impact a lot of people. And it's not just that, it's like the whole time I was, you know, like putting my efforts and my attention into creating this case and submitting it to PayPal and gathering the evidence and putting everything together, you know, that's taken me away. It's taken me away from the people that I can serve and that I want to serve and, you know, like who are legitimate customers, but it's also taken me away from my kids, you know, like I didn't bath my kids for like, or say goodnight to my kids for like 3 nights in a row just because I was dealing with this stuff, you know, like, unfortunately, you know, like it hasn't happened to me before, but still, it's a huge thing. It's like, don't do that to people. And then there's the potential consequences to the buyers because, you know, there are certain consequences if you're a serial chargebacker, and we're going to talk about that in this post. You know, it can also cause problems for you in terms of being blacklisted by the credit card company and things like that. And it really can just hurt the person doing it. I mean, if you do it to intentionally hurt someone, and there were threats, there were emails with threats and things like that I received in this case, then, you know, I'm a big believer in karma, and I think if you intentionally go out to hurt people, then don't expect to not be hurt yourself one day, whether directly or indirectly. So those are the main things I could think about. Now, the things I wanted to talk about when collating a case study, I called mine a case study to send back to PayPal for the original first claim. So there's been 2 for the same products. I'm going to explain that a little bit. I did let the person know that if they were going to do the fraudulent claim, I would have to publicly sort of let people know my experiences with this, which is what I'm doing right now. But basically what happened was PayPal contacted me and said someone's made a claim against you. We only found out that she was going to do this like a couple of days before, and it was on a weekend, and then the Monday the claim was active, it was present. So then I get time to submit my evidence and the buyer gets time to submit their evidence. So I submitted my evidence over a few days, and I did it very matter-of-factly. Don't get emotional when you do these things. I know it's quite hurtful to be in that situation sometimes, but the best thing that you can do is just be really impartial and matter-of-fact about it. So what I did is basically I only took the specifics of what the buyer said, the reason why they were making the claim, and I just listed everything out point by point, like really breaking it down into minute detail, like one line, this is what they said, this is my evidence to prove this is incorrect, or this is my evidence to, you know, that type of thing. So really list it out, you know, like what the buyer said, quote them, you know, and everything has to be factual. Nothing can be opinion based. This is why you've got to really step back and not be too emotional about this when you're actually submitting the case. My case itself, I mean, this was really extreme. So I had like 45-page long case study, which I submitted with 10 full-length videos with the buyer in them, 20 additional PDFs with over 200 pages of emails, which I submitted, chat history records for the videos, and also around 17 screenshots, various pieces of digital evidence of them showing their delight with the program, and countless other pieces of praise that I kind of picked out and, you know, like put in. But the chronological series of events, and this is what to me is quite shocking about this. So the 25th of July, the first purchase happened. We proceeded with the service. The 25th of September, another purchase happened. Obviously, she was very happy with the first purchase. So she purchased again on the 25th of September. This is like from July to September, everything was perfect. She was super happy. Everything was great. Then the 16th of November, it was a confirmation. There was a confirmation email between my assistant and her to say that, right, this is going to be our last appointment, and we're booking it all in. Beyond this, we didn't realise that there was any problem whatsoever, because all the feedback and everything had been so incredibly positive, and I put all that inside my case study as well. So that was on the 16th of November, like we were coming to a close. The 17th of November, I got my first email, which was kind of like quite a threatening email, demanding money. And then November 20th, that was Saturday, the Friday night, and we noticed that on Saturday the 18th. And then November 20th, which was the Monday, the first claim dispute case came through. It came through as a dispute, and then it within hours, the person had upscaled it to a claim, which was actually better for me, to be honest with you, because it made it a lot shorter duration of time to be able to get cleared up. Sorry if I'm looking on here, but I'm looking at the post because I want to make sure I don't miss a detail. So the claim was escalated on the 21st, and then the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, I submitted all my evidence. I mean, I really went to town. I wanted to gather everything I possibly could. Then November 24th, it was all resolved. The balance was back in my PayPal account. The two claims, she put claims through for both products that she bought. The two claims went in my favour because the evidence was just indisputable, really. And then I thought it was over. That's where I thought, oh, it's, like the 24th of November, this is over for me. Then this is what really gets me. It's like, you mess with me, it's one thing, but you mess with people I care about and other VAs and other people online doing business, then we have a problem. So December 4th, I received an email from a colleague, and I put the email in there, deleting it. I want to keep these people anonymous. But it said that this person was filing a chargeback against them, and could they get my help with what to do? That was December 4th. December 5th, I received another email from another colleague online. And this is somebody that this person came to me and asked me if I could get a discount with this other person, so she could purchase her products. So for me, this was devastating to hear that this other person came back and said that the exact same thing has happened to her. So and then December 6th, so that was December 4th, the first one. The first person saying this person's done a chargeback on their credit card. December 5th was another different person saying she'd done a chargeback on the credit card. And December 6th, it came back to me again, and she'd done another chargeback on the same purchases the case I'd won. Because the way it worked out is PayPal claims and then chargebacks from the credit card company are different things. So it's just kind of like clutching at what you can get. At this point, I called PayPal because I said, I thought this was all over. I needed a crash course in this stuff, so I really read up as much as I could. And it said that once PayPal decide on a claim, then it's final. So I didn't realise that this could potentially happen again, but it's another avenue, another way that people can get money back from you. So if you are doing claims disputes and you win, there is a possibility it might not be over. I didn't realise this. So they explained this to me, but they said, don't worry, we already have all the evidence. We're going to submit that to the credit card company on your behalf. So we will fight the case for you. And if we don't win, you're covered by the seller protection. Okay, so whenever you do transactions, certainly in PayPal, see if you're covered by that, because that's a huge help. Because they said, even if we lose the case with the credit card company, we will still return the funds to you. So for me, that's kind of like, well, that's awesome, because that's a little bit of justice going on. But that doesn't really resolve the matter at hand, that people are getting away with this, all the time. So, basically what's happening right now as I record this video, and I will update this post with any updates towards the end of it, is my balance is now in negative again. And now PayPal have 30 days to submit their case, but they said because we already have everything, it would be like within days. And then the credit card company have up to 75 days to get back to PayPal. So that's potentially 75 days that my PayPal account, my primary business PayPal account, is going to be basically out of action. I checked, and this, like I don't like making claims myself unless I double check on these facts, and PayPal state on their website that these are the kind of legal reasons why claims happen. It's didn't receive the item, received a damaged or defective item, don't recognise credit card charge, charged more than once for something and didn't authorise the payment, and none of those are applicable in this case. So then I want to talk about how you can prevent this from happening, and you can't. I mean, for me, I've had a really impeccable record for the last 13 years. And I think that's because I particularly do three things. The first thing is I always deliver on the product or service that I say I'm going to. So people always get it exactly as described, or I even try to give something more or better. Provide really impeccable human customer support. I mean, if we take this woman or this case as an example, like I say, there were over 200 pages and hours and hours and hours of customer support that went into servicing this individual. It is very unusual, and it was actually the most customer support that we've ever provided anyone. And the final one is to care about your buyers or your customers, and treat them as you would like to be treated yourself, and I always do that. So I think that's why I've had such an impeccable record for the last 13 years, is because I do very wholesome, organic, legitimate business. But that doesn't obviously stop people from doing this, and I'm sure that many people have their reasons, whether it be desperate or crazy or nasty. Just some people are nasty. I don't know what that reason might be, but it's happened. Okay, so how do you protect yourself if this does happen, or how do you protect yourself in advance of it happening, really is the main thing. So the first thing I've added is that we specifically got it in writing for this person, in writing from this person, that then there was no refund applicable because it was all in-person work. So for me, I'm happy to provide refunds on digital products. I understand that people might not be satisfied or might just want to buck the system or whatever and claim back for digital products, and I say, well, look, okay, that's fair enough, that's part of doing business online. But when I'm personally investing my time, my energy, mentally, emotionally, into working with someone one-on-one or in a group setting, there is a clause that there's no refunds available for that, because it's my personal time. There's one thing doing a DIY digital product, and there's another thing having that person actually invest their energy and time into you. So we got it in writing from this person that you do understand that if you go ahead with this purchase, there's no refunds. And she confirmed in writing. So that's one thing that you can do. Always honour your refund policies, and if there is a slight variation or there could be a slight misunderstanding, always get it in writing for the person that they know whether whether the refund is not available or not applicable. Then also gather as much evidence you can as to the person being super satisfied with what they're doing for you. So, I mean, it's a good practice anyway to take screenshots or to, to copy emails and things where you've had really positive feedback about your product or your service, just because it's good for the soul. It's nice to know that you're delivering something of value to people. But it's also evidence against that person if they say that they weren't happy, because they're stating very clearly publicly that they are. So we submitted evidence with that. And then there's also multimedia evidence. So I had this woman on videos. I use a tool called Zoom to do videos where you can actually see the people on the call in front of you. So I had 10 full-length videos with her on each call, which I submitted, and I submitted that with the case, and also identifying who she was and who I was in those videos. So it was kind of like unquestionable or undeniable that she was actually there utilising what she purchased. And I will say on one of the videos, I only had it on speaker view, which is just being able to see one person on the screen, which is me at the time. So the rest I had on gallery view. So if you're going to use Zoom, make sure to be, at least at some point in the call, use gallery view. Don't just have it permanently on speaker view. Then to have a really clear description of the product. So I was able to basically say, this is what the module was, the lessons were, that type of thing. I did this throughout the whole thing that she was claiming back on. This is what I say it was, and this is what she actually got. So people could actually marry up, like, this is what she was purchasing, this is what she got. Okay, it's as described. And I encourage people to be able to do that as well. I also added evidence in there of her coming back and saying that she was actually going through the program, that she loved it, you know, like love the program, love this. So there was quite a lot of evidence of that. So again, it's just about using something like a customer support site like Zendesk, where I was really easily able to go through and gather all this evidence and export it all as PDFs and, you know, put it towards my case. So customer support desk is another really good tip, alongside Zoom, just to really cover yourself. Then, although this didn't really happen to me in this case, but I thought to myself, there is a possibility that it could happen to other people. Like if you have testimonials and things like that, you know, you've got to say that the results experienced are not typical. You know, like your results could be different, and have some really good watertight small print as well, about, you know, like what you do and what you don't do and what's right and wrong, terms and conditions, privacy policy, that type of thing. Then another thing I would say is anything that you claim that you do, like if you've got a sales page. I know sometimes people put a lot of hype on sales pages and things like that, but I'm very stringent in, if I say I do something, or I say that if I say anything on my website anywhere, I always make sure that I'm able to back it up with physical evidence of that, or at least a testimony from some third party that could say, yes, this is correct. So this person took a lot of my words and skewed them. So I had to basically say that, you know, like, first of all, go and ask that person specifically where I said that. I actually say this, and this is the evidence to support it. So I never actually physically say something on a web page or anything unless I can actually support it with either physical evidence like invoices or sales reports or anything like that, or a third party who can testify. And then there's also the digital backend. So I used Adobe Business Catalyst, so I was able to just print a screenshot of when she'd been logging in and all the activity that she'd been doing and the emails that she'd been opening relating to things, to the program and stuff like that. And then finally we're going to move on to payment processor. So not all payment processors are created equally. For example, when I wrote my plagiarism post, the only reason I found out about the plagiarism because this person done a chargeback in ClickBank. And when I went to ClickBank, they said there's nothing we can do. We just, like, we don't worry about it. We consider it, we suck it up as part of doing business online. But these chargebacks cost these companies a lot of money to deal with. So with a payment processor like ClickBank, there's not really much you can do. If a payment processor like Stripe, for example, the other two claims that she's currently processing, or chargeback she's currently processing, are via Stripe. And in that, they kind of go with whatever the card company decide. So again, there's not really much there. But I'm actually really impressed with PayPal because they were very, very quick with me to give me advice and support on what I should do in order to be able to submit the things that I needed to submit to get the claim, you know, like approved in my favour, because I had everything. But not only that, now it's gone to chargeback. They're basically saying just sit tight. We will get the money back to you because you're covered by the seller protection, but it's going to take some time, but we're doing everything we can at our end, and I truly believe that that's possible. So whereas I know a lot of people have a problem with PayPal, I'm actually feeling quite warm and fuzzy towards PayPal right now because of this reason. Otherwise I would have lost a lot of money. And then another thing I will say is, and this was like the final thing that I can think to do to protect yourself, is get multiple accounts. Like at this time, really, I was only fully set up with one business, account type thing. I mean, I've been pursuing recently over the last year other accounts and setting myself up and, like getting prepared to grow and that type of thing in my business. So I immediately created another PayPal account when I realized this was happening. So I was still able to function in my business. And although that business, like you imagine if your PayPal account, your business account that's linked to it, and your debit card that's also linked to it is suddenly just usable, like you got nowhere to go. So I would say, have another account that you can use, have another PayPal account, have another business account, something like that. Have more than one account, basically. Have more than one place where you can actually do business. Because even if we were still I had payments still coming into my PayPal account, but it was just all getting sucked up in this negative balance. It's not actually coming to me, which, it's just a hassle, really. And for some people, it's a lot more than a hassle. It's a much bigger problem. So my conclusion into all of this is I really hope that you find this post informative and helpful. I hope that you're able to protect yourself against people who do this. Obviously I do believe that there are legitimate chargebacks as well. Of course there must be. Not all vendors are or sellers are honest, but also not all buyers are honest. And when it comes to chargebacks, it's really a buyer's world. But if you don't stand up and you don't fight to protect yourself against these people, then they can just keep doing it over and over again to other people. And I didn't want that to happen in this case. I thought if there is something I can do, then I will do it. And this is it. I'm doing it. So I'll keep you updated at the end of this post as this pans out. I didn't want to leave this anymore. I don't want to wait randomly or possibly up to 75 days to be able to report to you guys about what to do about this stuff. But yeah, I just really hope you find it helpful, and please do try and protect yourself as much as possible using the tools and the systems that we have out there as digital business owners who are selling products and services in this space. So thank you so much, and I'll see you around in the next video.